Okay, we're at the Concours d'Elegance in Hillsborough, California, June 22nd, 2025. This is at the Crystal Springs Golf Course, and I'm going to turn around here. As I turn around, you'll get an idea of how many vehicles are here. There will be a mix of classic cars, some exotic cars, all beautiful, beautiful cars. I've been to this once before, but it was quite a long time ago, about 19 years to be specific, and it was at a different location at that time, but I remember the cars being very, very special. So here we go. We're going to go take a look. All right, first off, we'll take a kind of a broad view of the cars here on the lawn, and I can already see a number of Ferraris, and there's quite a few classic cars, some old Cadillacs. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile is here, one of them. So quite a lot of things to see. These cars are, many of them are very special old classic cars. Here's a group here to my right, which includes a C1 Corvette, a Thunderbird from about 1959 or 60. We've got a couple of Cadillacs in the late 1950s. I think those are 59 Cadillacs. We've got what appears to be about a 57 Thunderbird in a really beautiful salmon color. Wow, that's really nice. And coming up here, I'm not quite sure what that black car ahead of me is, but let me take a look. It's a 1939 Cadillac. Beautiful car. It looks like it's been maybe partially restored or perhaps not restored, but it's quite an interesting looking car. 1939 Cadillac. And in the Cadillac corner, here's a Cadillac Eldorado. I believe this is a 1958. Beautiful car. Look at that. Blue on blue. That's a really, really nice car. And this is a Cadillac DeVille. I guess it would be considered a coupe DeVille in the sense that it's got two doors, but it also is a convertible. So it is probably around early 60s would be my guess. Wow. That was the height of elegance in its day. And here we've got a Cadillac limousine. You can see the back there with the jump seats.
Oh, really? It could be as late as 64. And then there's a
1964, perhaps, limousine. Beautiful car.
There's little sliding compartments on the sides.
And over here, this looks like maybe about a 1956 or 57. Member of the Cadillac and LaSalle Club. Distinctive back end of that car, and then this one next to it is a little bit older, and it is a convertible. Beautiful, nicely, very nicely restored. We've got the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Now, I believe there's 5 or 6 of these. I'm not sure which one. I know recently they raced them right before the Indianapolis 500. And I don't know which one this one is. It is definitely the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Okay, we're in the Ferrari area, and this is a Nope.
Concours cars of the future. So,
Not sure which Ferrari this is, but perhaps it, oh, here we go. This is a 550 Maranello, 1999. Nope, I'm sorry about that. That's a 1998, not 1999, according to the sign here. I misread that. This one is a 2015 Ferrari F12. And next to that is a 2008 599 GTB. And just to the right of that is this 2011 Ferrari California. The famous prancing horse. All right, I won't go through each individual car. But there are quite a few here. There's an F430. This is a 360, which predated the 430. And a 360. And here's the Ferrari Dino.
Oh, really? Fine, thank you. Tell us a little bit about this model of Polestar that you got here. Give me a little bit of the details on that.
Yeah, this one's supposed to be a little sportier, so it's on 517 horsepower with a perfect 50-50 weight distribution.
Starting off the show with two electric 500 plus horsepower SUVs. I don't think that's ever happened before. Well, thank you very much for joining us. What are you doing today?
How are you?
Good, thank you. Remind me your name again, please.
1990 Testarossa.
Sorry, take the mic.
Ferrari Testarossa.
Good to see you, Ishmael.
It's hard to believe.
I might have spoiled it a little bit with your spiel about the 296 here, but tell me a little bit about this twin turbo V6.
Well,
That
this
is
the
quite
first
a
Ferrari. It's basically a model that's for
35-year-old car, huh? Wow.
It's the first one they did in that V6. It's a 2.9-liter twin turbo, and it produces 830 horsepower. Where with one electric motor, 176 horsepower is there, and on the engine you have 633 horsepower. I mean, it's
In peace.
All right, beautiful.
How about the engine? Does the engine sound peaceful?
Ferrari, look at that toolkit.
Even though it's a V6,
That is
it's
really
kind of
something. 1969. 1969 365 GT2 plus 2.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Okay, 1963 250 GT. 1963.
Opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. So, on to what we're here for. Tell me about this, I believe also twin turbo V6, correct? A little bit of competition on the field today, huh?
Yes, sir. So this is going to be kind of our
Look at
version, our
that.
counterpart, one might say.
There are still some Ferraris, but let me take a look at these Cadillacs. 59 Cadillac there. And there you can see a couple of the judges in their blue blazers looking at the Cadillacs. This is quite an array of vintage Cadillacs. 1947. Wow, there's the interior of the 1947 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. Look at that with the mohair interior. Beautiful. All right. To that is a 1941 Cadillac. And there's the famous Cadillac crest. All right. And we'll take a look inside here. This is a convertible. Look at that beautiful, beautiful interior. That is really, really nice. Very, very pretty interior there.
What's the torque number? Because I know it's insane. Gentlemen, so next we
And that's the back end of that 1941.
bringing up something that we've seen here before, but nonetheless,
And there's the
not any less interesting.
1947.
David. How you doing today?
All right, and we're looking now at another Cadillac. This is a convertible also, 1941 Cadillac Series 62 convertible.
Very well rounded, very good legal, luckily, with all that interior and all that driving spec. And if you don't mind telling me, where could we find something like this? Or perhaps something else that's a little bit more unique?
Cadillac LaSalle Club. This is the interior of that Cadillac. It's convertible and the top is up, so I don't know if I get very good video of the interior, but it's got a speedometer that says it'll go 100 miles an hour. I don't know if it does or not, but the speedometer thinks it will. Got a clock, a radio. That's a very, very beautiful interior. It's a wood dash. It's got, I don't know if you can see it down there, but it's got a control for fresh air. And here's a very special car. I'm going to guess by the license plate that that's a 1926 Cadillac. We'll take a look in just a second in the front.
Stop by at Boardwalk Lotus for test drive. Okay, everyone, Boardwalk Lotus in Redwood City, I believe that's correct. Great, thank you very much. And then tell me a little bit about the color, tell me a little bit about the interior. What do you like about this car? This is a unique color, I see.
1926 Cadillac 314. Wow, 1937 LaSalle. And I think we can rest assured that that's a V8 engine there. And there's the LaSalle hood ornament. 1937 LaSalle convertible. Look at those fenders. Wow. Got a spare tire mounted on the fender here. And it says LaSalle. And the interior of that. Wow, that's really beautiful, beautiful. Haha, look at that. Look at those rectangular gauges. We've got a clock over there, a speedometer, and of course the LaSalle logo right there on the steering wheel. And that LaSalle has a rumble seat.
Tell me a little bit about this unique presentation that you got here. This car is based off...
And I don't know the year of this, but it's obviously a brass era car. So it's looks like it's 1907 according to the license plate. 1907. So that is what a Cadillac looked like in 1907. Not a lot of instrumentation. There does appear to be a clock that looks like it might have been an aftermarket edition. I don't know. I guess you didn't need a speedometer. You weren't likely going very fast in this car. 1907. This is up to 1931. And this is a Cadillac that has not been restored. This is looks like original paint. And it was a limousine of its day in 1931. Not sure how well that's going to turn out. Interior, but quite different. And this is the back of the car, the back seat. And I really like this when the cars are left in their original condition. It's been maintained, obviously, but not restored. I don't know if that trunk is original. It doesn't look like it weathered as much as the car did, but That's how people went about traveling in 1931. All right, now this is a very well restored Cadillac.
Further ado, that's the 69 Hillsborough Concours, new car display, dealer driveway. Thank you, everyone.
And it says right there, Cadillac. And if the license plate is to be believed, and why wouldn't it be, that is a 1935 Cadillac. So from 1931 to 1935, there were quite a few changes made in the car. That interior is really something, and the gauges. So from 1931 to 1935 was a lot of change, and this is the back seat. Not sure how well that turns out, but we'll check it out. And this one has been restored. Paint, obviously. I love those headlights. Those are something. This one, unlike the 1931, this one, the hood ornament is intact. That there are just too many cars and too many special cars here for me to video each one. There's a 53 Chrysler, a 1957 Chevrolet, and there's a, let's see, 56 Buick? 1957 Buick. These cars have all been beautifully restored and are absolutely immaculate. All right, this is the interior of that. This one has won an award. Your car has been selected as a class award winner. Please remain with your car. At 1:15, your instructions for the field steward. So that one won an award, and I can see why. That car is really, really in beautiful shape. 1957 Buick. Here's another special vehicle. This is a 1952 Volkswagen. 1952. Now, I had a 1956 Volkswagen, which had a small oval rear window. This one has the split rear window. I don't remember the exact years that those, but the 1952 had a split rear window, and by 1956 it had a small oval rear window. So very, very basic interior. 1952 Volkswagen. Here's the vents to let air in. There's a 1958 Volkswagen bus, as we used to call them. And that's I think it's called a 24 window, or let me look and see if there's any indication. 23 window. 23 window. And of course the opening in the windshield to let air in, because they wouldn't have had any air conditioning in those days. And we got another one here. This is a 1955, a completely different style. This is more like a camping van. And next to that is one from 1963, and this one is a truck. So this is they call it a double cab, Type 2 double cab from 1963. And again, the window's still open.
What's the Canadian connection?
And there it was. So there we are. powered by Porsche. We've got another 23 window. This is a European Volkswagen from 1965. And next to that is 1950, quite a bit more basic, from 15 years older. And this was see if we can get some view of the interior there. And that is the speedometer and the steering wheel. That's about all you get. And this black Volkswagen is a 1946. It also has the split oval window in the back, 1946. Clearly the paint has been done, and the interior, but that's a very basic vehicle there. 1946. Imagine the seats looked quite different in 1946. Look at those little tiny windshield wipers. My goodness. Those look very, very dainty. This appears to be a Rolls-Royce based on the look of the radiator. So let's see. And it's a 1929 Rolls-Royce. It says 20 horsepower. That would have been a lot of car to pull around with only 20 horsepower. 1929. I got this earlier, but I didn't get as good an opportunity to get video of it because of the fact that there were a lot of people around. So this looks like it's got a 6-cylinder, straight 6 in it.
I'd like to kick off our afternoon
And
activities.
here's the interior.
Hang on there, Rob. First and foremost, we'd love to introduce you all to one of our significant beneficiaries. As you all know, the Hillsborough Concours is a charitable event, and one of the charities that we provide support to is Ability Path. And we've been very fortunate today where we have the CEO of Ability Path, Brian Nyder, and he has a number of folks.
And down here we have the jack, and it looks like a way to inflate the tire with a manual tire pump, foot-operated manual tire pump. Things were very different in 1929.
Ability Path here today. It's the first time we've had him here, and we'd just like to welcome them, and Brian will do a little bit of an introduction, and we'd just like to thank you for all you do, Brian, for the community. And again, he'll give you a bit of history, but it started in Hillsborough, and it's been going on for over 100 years. So, Brian, welcome.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you to the Hillsborough Concours Elegance for your generosity in supporting Ability.
And this is a 1935 Bentley called a drop-head coupe, which means, of course, that it's a what we would nowadays call a convertible. Look at that fender. Wow. That is a big fender. Can you imagine cruising down the road in that? Probably 40 or 45 miles an hour might have been fast in those days. And there's a little bit of a view of the interior with the gauges and everything. And there's a knob to open the window. And there's the Bentley logo. I'm still amazed. Look at those fenders. Front fenders. Wow. And the headlights are enormous. That's a lot of chrome. This is a 1953 Rolls-Royce Silver Dawn. And I love this.
What kind of business?
The Queen is here to greet you. I'm not sure the Queen ever rode in this car, but I think 52 or 53 was when she became Queen. And there's, of course, the Rolls-Royce. And that's the interior. Beautiful car. And in the back, we have a little tray table that comes out, and you can put your cocktail or your iced tea or whatever you're drinking on that tray, and hopefully it won't. This is a beautiful comparison. That's a 53 and this is a 55. Notice the difference in the headlights and the front fenders. So in 2 years, this is a silver cloud, and the body style has changed quite a bit. Both of these, by the way, are class winners. And this is the 1955. And by 1955, each of the passengers in the back gets their own tray table. So we have this tray table and the one over there that's folded up. And there's the beautiful dashboard. Wow, look at that wood. 1955 Silver Cloud 1. And there's the Rolls-Royce emblem. And we come over here to the Corniche 2, Rolls-Royce Corniche 2. I'm going to guess this is probably from the 1990s, but we'll walk around in front and see. It's obviously quite different. This is also a class winner. This is a 1987, so I was a little bit off on the year, 1987. And this is a 1991 Silver Spur 2, so also a little bit more modern Rolls-Royce. So this is a 1952 Seata Berlinetta. Coachwork by Bertoni. I don't know much about these cars. I might have seen one or two of them. And I don't know if they were imported to the United States, and if so, how many were imported. But that car is in really beautiful condition. 208S, it says it is, okay? Maserati here from 1957. What a beautiful car that is. Maserati Grand Sport, it says. And that is, look at that shift lever. Wow. What an interesting interior. Chrome. And look at that shift lever. That is wow. 1957 Maserati. This is a Lancia 1925 Lancia. That is a rare car. I owned a Lancia when I lived in Switzerland, but it certainly didn't look like this. I think the one I had was about a 1988 or 89, maybe even an 87, I don't remember, but wow, look at that, 1925 Lancia with two, count them, two spare tires. And we've even got a hot rod, a 32 Ford Highboy Roadster. That's pretty cool. A 1938 LaSalle 5-passenger touring coupe. 5 passengers must include a rumble seat. Maybe not. Anyway, that's, I don't know if you can see the interior, but that's a big car for a coupe. Coupe, I guess is what they called them in those days. All right, in the category of very unusual cars, this is an Auto Bianchi, which I've never heard of before. 1960 Auto Bianchi, a little tiny car. That is a very small vehicle. Look at that. You get a speedometer and looks like a fuel gauge and something else. I love the way that top opens up. That is quite a cute little car. Oh, there is a radio in there. All right. And look at the shifting lever. Another fairly rare car. This is a BMW 600, 1958. Car like that would not be able to be built nowadays for safety reasons. If you hit anything, you'd be in trouble. Look how small those wheels are. They look like they're about maybe 12 inches. And you obviously enter in the front and then close the door. I'm not sure how many, if any, of those were imported into the United States. And there's the engine for that. That's a very unusual car. And it looks very, very nice. It's been maintained and restored very nicely. Okay, a 1951 Tatra. I just learned about these this morning on the internet from a completely unrelated story, but they're apparently a Czech car, and they've been around for a very long time. They were one of the first air-cooled cars, even before Volkswagen. So I have not heard of these before, and I've never seen one before, but you can even get Tatra beer. And that is certainly unique from the rear, and it is my understanding from the the episode I saw of a Drain Museum, that these cars had air-cooled engines up to a V8. So that's just something you don't see. This falls in the unique category. And also in the category of unique is a wagon, a touring wagon from Yosemite. This is a 1937 Cadillac. It's obviously specially made for taking tourists around in Yosemite. That is really something. One of the great things about this particular car show is you do see some very unusual vehicles. And this is a Cadillac Series 75. All right, this is a 1922 Stutz KLDH Sportster, clearly not restored. This is a survivor. Look at that engine. Wow. That appears to be a 4-cylinder engine. I can only count 4 spark plugs. So, wow. That in 1922, that would have been quite a vehicle. Look at the size of that, to have such a small engine. Of course, people didn't drive quite so fast in those days, did they? There we go. Wow. A Stutz. That is really nice to see that someone has kept that vehicle in original condition. Okay, according to the information on that, that had a 361 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine. Those were big cylinders. Now here's a car that you used to see a lot more of these. This is a 1971 Volvo 1800 E. And I don't know why they're not as visible now. Perhaps a lot of them were not saved. This one clearly was. One of the coolest cars ever, in my opinion. This was a very sporty car in its day. And we have another one. This is a 1973 1800 ES, so it's got a different body style to it. This has got what we used to call station wagon style body, but it's from the same era, a couple of years newer than the other one was, or is. So there's the 1800 ES. Very cool car. And this is a Mercedes 300S. I don't yet know what year it is. I'm guessing it's from the 1950s. That has been beautifully restored. That interior is immaculate. Everything about that is absolutely beautiful. That's 1956. 1956. And as I have said many times, what would a car show be without a Jaguar XKE? This is a 1967. The XKE, some people say the most beautiful car ever built. I believe Enzo Ferrari said that, so it carries some weight. What an absolutely beautiful car. I don't know if that was a factory original color, but that gray pewter color is really beautiful. Not surprisingly, that is also a class award winner. All right, this is a 1966 Fiat 1500 Cabriolet. So 1966 it was before the 124, I believe, or it was just a different car. I don't know that for sure, but this looks a little bigger than mine, but again, it's hard to tell. It's been very, very well restored. I love the color of that. That is... Okay, I found another car that is quite rare. This is called a Prince. The Prince was manufactured in Japan. This is a 1967 Prince. Nissan, it says. So I'm guessing it was originally manufactured by Nissan. At least that's what it says. It's a right-hand drive. Pretty basic interior. Prince Motorist Club. Interesting. I do not remember. I remember the name, but I did not know about its history. And that clearly says Nissan, so I'm guessing that it was manufactured by Nissan. And in 1967, I think all Nissans in the United States were known as Datsuns. D-A-T-S-U-N, and they changed the name from Datsun to Nissan, but that's a Nissan Prince 4200 GT, and there's the engine, all 4 cylinders of it. All right, so right here we've got a row of Porsches. There's a 73, a 1967. I like that green color. That's always been one of my favorites. And this one is a 1973. Thank you.
So, Thomas.
1987. That's the whale tail. The 930. Oh, and here we go. This has got to be a 66. I was going to guess 66 or 67. I like that. That's back in the air-cooled days. And here's another one, which is 1968. Okay, 1968. Look at those. Those are really, really in good shape. Very, very nice shape. And this is that orangish color, 1967. I wouldn't necessarily call a 1963 Chevy Corvette a rare car, but this one does have the 340 horsepower 327. So that particular engine was rare in its day. It's called an L76. That is not been restored, so that's in survivor class. And this is a 1964 Imperial. I think I am with a lot of people who thought that Imperial was just a car within the Chrysler line, but I found out later that that isn't true, that the Imperial was in fact a separate line, and this is called the Imperial Crown. This doesn't look restored. This looks like it is in original condition, but it's been very well maintained. And it's a big car. That is a big, big car. $1957. This is a supercharged. That's a beautiful paint job. Nice restoration on this 57 Thunderbird. It's got an automatic. And look at this trunk. Wow. That has really been kept in extremely good shape. And it's a convertible. Most of them have this porthole top like the one that's next to it. But that bronze colored one is strictly a convertible. This one's also an automatic. Really nice. So both of those are 1957s. The white one and this, I'm calling it bronze. I'm not sure what its color really is. Both 1957s, slightly different, but both beautiful cars. And a 1961 C1 Corvette. And that car is also in really good shape. Like the cove on the side there. I don't know what color that is either, but it's a looks like a sort of a bronze-ish color. But wow, that's very nice. Got a 4-speed. Okay, we've got some early Ford Thunderbirds here. This is a 1964 in kind of a salmon color. And next to that is a 1966 that's white. And you can see the similarities during that particular generation. I believe that's what they called the 4th generation of the Thunderbird. And they kept them pretty much the same during that period of time. This one's a convertible, so we'll be able to get a little bit better look at the interior. And it's got that tilt-away wheel, which was something that I believe Ford was the only company that did that. Look at that dashboard. That's really an interesting dashboard. And console. Very space age. And this one, same, but it's not a convertible, it's a coupe, so can't get quite as good a look at that one. But these, this particular one is a 62, no, this is a 66 also. Okay, so both of those two cars are 66s. This one is a little older, I believe. Just 1 year, 65, 1965. And that has a different front end. Let's see if it's got the tilt-away wheel. And the cockpit looks very similar. Different, a little bit different, but similar. And interesting color of paint on that one. That blue, sky blue maybe. But you can definitely see the 1 year difference, mostly in the bumper. And we'll continue with the Thunderbird, but first we're interrupted by a 1967 Mercury Cougar. Mercury Cougar from Castro Valley. Now that was a car that was basically Mercury's version of a Mustang. And we've got yet another Thunderbird here. Now this is a little bit older and has a different dashboard. Those two, yeah, that's definitely not. So I'm going to guess that that is maybe a 63. Yes, it is a 63, okay. 1963. So that's called a third generation. One of the most significant differences between the third generation and fourth generation Thunderbirds is the tail lights. And then this is the fourth generation. So it's quite clear that they went away from those round tail lights and to a broader tail light all the way across the back. And as I recall, these were the first ones that had what were called sequential tail lights. So when you turned, the tail lights blinked from inside to outside. All right, a 1931 Duesenberg Model J convertible sedan. Wow, look at that. That is red. Wow. And you get a look at the interior. There's some instructions on how to start it. Starting cars in 1931 was a different process than it is today, for sure. Wow. The convertible sedan. What a beautiful car. And the very well-known Model 540 Mercedes. This one's from 1936. 1936 540K. Look at that. That one actually does have a trunk, or a boot, as the British say. This is the inside of that 540K Mercedes. Okay, this is a 1933 Auburn.
The two people that are known as hot doggers, that are the folks that drive that Wienermobile around the country, and so we get to spend a little bit of time talking to them about what they're doing and how exciting it is to do that job. So a little bit of contrast, but come up here to Show Center, grab a seat in the shade. We'll start very shortly.
We got a Packard, great big Packard here. That's a beautiful car. Packards were, this a 12, a Packard 12. It's a Packard V12 Club Sedan, it's called. All right. Oh, thank you. And there we've got the interior. They left the doors open for us so we can get a good interior shot of that dashboard. And the nice ample back seat with the mohair. And of course we have to have the trunk because there's no trunk. And that's the Packard 12. That car is in very nice shape. It's got some issues with the paint, so I'm guessing it's not completely restored. And someone had their initials put on the car, which I think was a thing back then. This is a 1938 Packard 12 limousine. And there's the famous Packard hood ornament. I always thought that was pretty darn cool. Look at those white walls. 1938. And that's the chauffeur's view of the world. And back here, we have the passenger's view of the world. You can kind of see the footrests and the cord on the back of there to put the blanket on. There we go, there's the cord. And this is a Bentley. I don't know the year of this one, there's no signage here, but it's a coupe with a suicide-style door, or what we later called a suicide-style door. Right-hand drive. Look at that interior. Boy, the wood has really been maintained, or restored, probably not maintained. And that is really in excellent shape. Little storage area back there for put your luggage. That's quite a vehicle. Okay, 1932 Alfa Romeo Spider Corsa. Look at that, 1932 Alfa Romeo.
The new president of Porsche, which was Peter Schutz, he come from Cummins Engine Company. They thought this was going to be a huge mistake not to have a 911. And they had a budget to build a new car for what was Group B. Group B was going to be a new set of rules, pretty much unlimited class cars for rally, included the RS200s and things. And the RS200s were kind of one of the first cars built, and unfortunately they had very bad
Alfa Romeo race car. 1955 Austin Healey 100.
Composite panels, the entire body.
Look at
the
that.
tub is steel, but the entire body is Kevlar.
Wow.
And aluminum doors, aluminum lid, lots of magnesium parts, some titanium parts.
Not a lot of working room in there.
Development car from Porsche to try everything and prove the worth of the 911 going forward. And obviously, we still have 911s today. This kind of
And note where the spare tire is located. Clearly a race car. Okay, well that about wraps it up. I've been here for a couple of hours and maybe a little longer than that. And there's no way I could have seen everything, of course, but I saw a lot. So it was a beautiful day here, just the right temperature, and a lot of really nice people that I talked to about their cars here. And it's going to be a beautiful day for the rest of the day. They're going to start doing the awards here in about another 15-20 minutes, but I think I'm going to pass on that. And if you are watching this at this point, please like and subscribe to my channel if you would. Leave a comment. I'd appreciate the comment because it helps me make content that people really enjoy. Thank you very much and have a great day.